You've been taught that life unfolds randomly, that coincidences mean nothing, that events simply happen without discernible pattern or purpose. Yet, what if every uncanny encounter, every unexpected revelation, every strange repetition you've ever experienced was in fact a direct conversation, a profound dialogue between your deepest self and the vast intelligence that orchestrates reality itself? Carl Jung called it synchronicity. Neville Goddard termed it the bridge of incidents. These were not mere theories. They were precise maps to a hidden dimension of existence, where your inner world and outer circumstances are interwoven in a constant, intricate dance. When a person unexpectedly crosses your mind and then appears moments later, when the same potent symbol persistently emerges across diverse contexts, when answers surface even before you've fully formulated the question, reality isn't random. It's a dynamic, responsive mirror, reflecting something profound, stirring within you. Those who have learned to consciously participate in this exchange find their lives transforming in ways that defy logic, ways that seem impossible to those still clinging to the illusion of pure chance. The subtle signals you might be dismissing are the exact coordinates guiding you toward your next evolutionary leap. Every ignored synchronicity is a missed message from the organizing principle behind all things. Once you learn to decode this language, you realize you are not merely watching life unfold. You are actively, dynamically authoring it. Most individuals operate under a fundamental misconception. They perceive reality as a sequence of disconnected happenings, random collisions of circumstance entirely separate from their internal experience. But every single moment you encounter is a precise, holographic reflection of the consciousness you embody. Jung spent decades meticulously documenting this phenomenon, tracing how inner states manifested as outer events with mathematical regularity. Goddard took this further, conducting practical experiments with thousands of individuals who learned to deliberately activate this profound principle. His seminal 1961 work, The Law and the Promise, provides compelling documented accounts of people who discovered they were not victims of circumstance, but sovereign architects of their experience. What unfolds beneath the surface of your conscious awareness is in ceaseless exchange, a resonance between the unified field of consciousness you occupy and the specific version of reality that crystallizes around you. Jung defined synchronicity as being connected by significance, rather than linear cause and effect. Decades later, quantum physics would experimentally validate what these pioneers understood intuitively. The observer doesn't just witness reality, the observer actively selects it, collapsing infinite probabilities into a singular experience. When you sustain a particular internal frequency with genuine depth and unwavering consistency, the universe reorganizes visible circumstances to precisely mirror that frequency back to you. The evidence constantly surrounds you. A person you haven't thought of in years suddenly reaches out the very day they crossed your mind. A symbolic dream image recurs in your waking life until its message becomes undeniable. You express a subtle need, and someone offers exactly what's required. Unprompted. These are not flukes. They are irrefutable proof of an intelligent field, tracking your consciousness and responding accordingly. Goddard illuminated that when you occupy the feeling state of already having what you desire, when you embody it so completely that it resonates as a tangible reality within your physical being, an intricate sequence of seemingly unrelated incidents begins to assemble itself. The very people you need appear, doors you didn't even know existed swing open, perceived barriers dissolve. What most people miss is that you are already doing this unconsciously, habitually generating synchronicities based on whatever mental and emotional patterns you run by default. When you awaken to this dynamic process, when you begin recognizing the embedded messages within meaningful coincidences, something fundamental shifts. Life ceases to happen to you and begins to unfold through you. You become a conscious, potent participant in the cosmic conversation, a sculptor of your own quantum landscape. Consider October 1913. Jung experienced a vision so disturbing, so utterly visceral, that he genuinely feared for his sanity. He saw a massive, terrifying yellow wave sweep across Europe, from the North Sea to the Alps, carrying the wreckage of civilization and countless human bodies. The vision returned repeatedly over 2 weeks, intensifying each time. He meticulously documented it in his private journals, convinced he was descending into madness. Then, July 1914 arrived. World War I erupted. The yellow wave was mustard gas. The bodies were tragically real. Jung realized something profound. He had intercepted a pattern forming in the collective field of human consciousness before it had physically materialized. Certain individuals, he understood, function as sensitive receivers for shifts still organizing in the invisible layers of reality, picking up the signal before the manifestation. Goddard identified this same mechanism operating at an individual level. Imagine someone who repeatedly dreamed of a particular house, every detail vivid, specific, the color, the unique architecture, the garden layout. Months later, driving through an unfamiliar city, they stumbled upon that exact house for sale. The owners had only decided to sell 3 days earlier, yet the decision had been gestating for months due to a job transfer that wasn't yet confirmed. Your intuition has also shifted. Instead of clear directives, you might receive abstract impressions, energetic hunches, or sudden knowings without logical explanation. Your psychic perception is upgrading from linear processing to quantum sensing, receiving information from probability fields. If this resonates, like and subscribe to stay coherent with this frequency of exploration. The uncertainties in your finances, relationships, or career aren't problems to solve. They are mirrors, reflecting your internal transition. On the surface, these events appear unrelated. Someone mentions something in passing. You notice a particular advertisement. An unexpected call comes through. You stumble upon a specific book. Each incident seems meaningless alone, but together, they form a precise, undeniable pathway between your current position and the reality you've claimed internally. Goddard documented the case of a man who visualized being in Barbados, despite having no money for travel. Within 2 weeks, a former employer contacted him about temporary work requiring his presence in Barbados. All expenses covered. The employer reported dreaming about this man 3 consecutive nights, beginning precisely when the visualization started. The bridge had formed. The invisible architecture of reality reveals itself through specific, often symbolic, patterns. Objects break at symbolically significant moments, marking the completion of cycles. Locked doors suddenly open when new phases are ready to begin. Animals appear in repetition. The same bird, the same butterfly, punctuating moments of transition. Jung cataloged hundreds of these occurrences. You are not just changing. You are quantum leaping into a different paradigm of existence. This explains why certain content now feels revolutionary, while others seem irrelevant. Your consciousness has developed new receptors, a sensitivity to information aligning with your emerging reality. What feels like random synchronicity is your awareness navigating by resonance, not logic. Dr. Bruce Lipton's research shows your cells don't just respond to thoughts. They become your thoughts. Repeated identical thoughts restructure cells to facilitate thinking that thought again. Neural pathways strengthen. Synaptic connections multiply. Your brain physically reconfigures, becoming a biological monument to your habitual self. But here, quantum superposition becomes your greatest ally. Just as particles exist in multiple states, your cells possess the capacity for multiple emotional states, biochemical environments, realities concurrently. They aren't locked. When you rest in the certainty that it's already done, the synchronicities accelerate. Resources appear. People show up with exactly what's needed, and obstacles that seemed immovable simply vanish. Beyond neuroplasticity, Quantum coherence suggests particles within your cells can maintain synchronized wave functions. Consistently maintaining a new state of being makes your entire body achieve quantum coherence around it, making it easier to sustain. This is the tipping point where being the new you becomes effortless. These moments reveal your innate participation in the cosmic exchange. The universe constantly signals what is forming beneath visible reality. The real question is, how do you develop the sensitivity, the neural pathways, to read these signals reliably and intentionally? March 1909. Freud found himself in the midst of arguing against paranormal phenomena when something extraordinary interrupted his materialist certainty. Jung had come to visit him in Vienna, and as they discussed these topics, Freud held his position firmly, dismissing any legitimacy to such experiences. During Freud's impassioned arguments, Jung began to feel an intense physical heat, concentrating in his diaphragm, growing stronger and stronger until it became nearly unbearable. At the peak of this sensation, a loud, sharp crack burst from Freud's bookshelf. Both men jumped. Jung, still experiencing the strange heat, said calmly, "This is exactly what we're discussing, and to demonstrate it's a genuine phenomenon, I predict another crack will occur immediately." Seconds later, an identical sound erupted from the same shelf. Freud went pale. Jung later wrote about the look of horror on Freud's face, the horror of watching his entire worldview crack along with the sounds from the bookshelf. Their relationship never fully recovered. Jung had proven that intense internal states generate measurable external effects, a testament to the power of the embodied mind. This explains why you sometimes feel like you're living the wrong life. Because, in a quantum sense, you are. You've collapsed into a reality misaligned with your highest potential, created through past conditioning, limitation, fear. But those alternative versions, the confident, successful, joyful you, they persist, accessible, calling from the quantum field, waiting for you to tune in. Consider this illustration. A woman longed for her estranged brother to return home after years of separation. She didn't attempt to persuade him. Instead, every night before falling asleep, she would imagine him sleeping in the next room. She heard his breathing patterns. She felt his presence in the house. She experienced the deep relief and joy of having him home. After 3 weeks of this nightly practice, her brother called to say he'd decided to return. He reported feeling an inexplicable pull toward home that began precisely when she started her practice. We transition so rapidly from possibility to actuality that awareness of choice never emerges. But what if you could expand that moment? Extend that space between stimulus and response, between potential and collapse. Witness yourself selecting which version to become. This is meditation's true purpose. Not emptying the mind, but dwelling in that space of pure potential before collapse. This defines authentic presence, being aware of all possibilities existing in this now. This reveals what consciousness offers, not just thought, but the ability to choose which reality your thoughts manifest. He didn't visualize vaguely, he felt specifically. Within 2 weeks, an old client, who owed a significant sum, a debt he'd entirely written off as lost, appeared voluntarily to pay it, with interest. The client said he'd been haunted by an inexplicable compulsion to settle this obligation. The principle operates through a specific mechanism. Your emotional states broadcast distinct frequencies into the unified field of consciousness, which responds by organizing corresponding events. This exploration merely scratches the surface of consciousness, operating through frequency. While we've discussed your natural evolution, there are deeper systems that can accelerate this journey. To truly master these quantum transmissions, from seeking to being, from manifestation to embodied creation, I invite you to explore further. The new stage unlocking for you isn't just personal, it's cosmically significant. As you evolve, you seed new possibilities in the collective field, creating ripples that make it easier for others to recognize their own capacity for quantum evolution. Your nervous system has mastered collapsing you into your familiar identity. It happens so rapidly. Awareness of choice never surfaces. A financial obligation, criticism, an opportunity, and before conscious consideration, you've collapsed into predictable response. Your body automatically generates specific chemicals, tensions, thought patterns. This automatic collapse creates limitation. Your circumstances don't create confinement. Your nervous system's addiction to collapsing into identical patterns does. You've mastered being who you've always been. But mastery can redirect. The same nervous system can train to automatically collapse you into expansion. The same body conditioned to familiar chemicals can learn to crave elevated emotional states. The same neural pathways can rewire to new, empowering configurations. This is where genuine transformation begins, through awareness of the moment preceding collapse. When familiar emotions arise, can you pause? When habitual thoughts appear, can you question them? When your body prepares to react, can you choose differently? Initially, this feels impossible. The gravitational pull of the familiar is overwhelming. Your cells demand their chemicals. Your neural pathways function like deeply carved channels. But each time you pause, each time you choose differently, you weaken established patterns and strengthen new ones. You're literally reconstructing yourself at the quantum level. Consider this. Your established identity functions like a gravitational field, pulling everything into its influence. But consciousness exerts more power than gravity. Awareness wields more influence than automation. Conscious choice can escape even the strongest pull of established patterns. If you're prepared to escape the gravitational field of your previous self, subscribe now. This creates a quantum bridge, ensuring continued reception of energetic transmissions, supporting your ongoing evolution, connecting you to the universal fabric of becoming. When you decide to stop collapsing into your previous identity, your physical system experiences shock. It's been generating identical biochemical formulas for years. Cortisol upon awakening, adrenaline midday, worry hormones before sleep. Your body knows this formula completely. It's your biochemical signature. Now, suddenly, you're requesting it stop. You're refusing the stress chemicals it depends on, withholding familiar emotional states, like caffeine or sugar withdrawal. Your body protests. Anxiety without cause, irritability without clear trigger. Your body literally experiences withdrawal from your established identity. Many abandon transformation, interpreting discomfort as a sign something's wrong. But these sensations actually confirm transformation is progressing. Your established identity is dissolving at the cellular level, and dissolution, even of what no longer serves, creates temporary discomfort. But here's the beautiful aspect. As your body releases dependency on established chemical patterns, it becomes receptive to new ones. Gratitude generates different hormones than fear. Joy creates different neurotransmitters than anxiety. Love floods your system with chemicals that heal. And your cells, these brilliant quantum processors, can learn to crave these new chemicals just as intensely as the old ones. Most people are never taught about cellular memory transmutation, how your cells can accelerate adaptation to new biochemical states with conscious intention and energy. By directing attention to struggling cells and consciously speaking to them, assuring them safety in this new state, you significantly reduce the withdrawal period, helping your body adapt faster to your new frequency state. The transition period typically spans 21 to 30 days. That's the duration for your body to break its chemical addiction. During this phase, you exist in quantum flux. You're neither your previous self nor your emerging self. You're in superposition, pure potential, prepared to collapse into something unprecedented. This is sacred time. This is when you are most powerful, most creative, most capable of authentic transformation. Don't rush it. Don't seek comfort. Allow yourself to exist in the uncertainty, in the space between who you were and who you're becoming. When you expand beyond limitation, Creative solutions previously outside your perceptual range become accessible. Dreams and visions are downloads from your quantum potential. Your unconscious mind accesses information across time and probability that your logical mind cannot. These images are glimpses of realities in superposition, waiting for your consciousness to cohere enough for manifestation. Pay attention to recurring symbols, themes, emotions. They teach you the energetic language of your emerging self, crucial for navigating reality through intuition and feeling. In quantum mechanics, the observer effect shook scientific understanding. The act of observation alters what's being observed. An electron doesn't occupy a definite location until someone observes it. A particle doesn't select its state until consciousness collapses it into reality. Observer and observed aren't separate. They form one integrated system. You function simultaneously as observer and observed. How you observe yourself determines which version collapses into reality. Observe through your wounds. Collapse into wounded reality. Observe through your power. Collapse into empowered reality. The observer is the creator aspect of your being. What most fail to comprehend: you're not observing objective reality. You're observing possibility and collapsing it into experience through the quality of your observation. Your consciousness isn't passive. It represents the active force selecting which potential becomes actual. Each time you observe your life, you're not merely seeing what exists. You're creating what exists through the act of seeing. This explains why two people experience identical events differently. They're not just interpreting. They're literally collapsing into different realities through their observation. One observes opportunity, another obstacle. Both are correct. For both create their experience. Some might feel threatened. Recognizing your evolution challenges the limitations they accept. Rather than taking it personally, see it as a natural response to encountering someone embodying possibilities they haven't claimed. This is why people consciously creating a new reality often report increasing meaningful coincidences. They are actually creating these entanglements through their observation, knitting a new fabric of existence. Business ideas, creative projects, or life directions gestating within you aren't just ambitions. They're evolutionary impulses moving through you. They feel urgent yet undefined because they represent potentials wanting to incarnate through your unique gifts. Your job isn't logical planning, but providing conditions for their organic emergence. Ancient mystery schools taught transformation happens in spirals, not lines. You might revisit similar challenges, but each return is from a higher awareness. What looks like repetition is integration. Your consciousness, revisiting themes with greater depth until mastery. Which familiar pattern is showing up differently now? Share below how you meet old challenges with new awareness. This creates ripples, helping others recognize their evolutionary spirals. The longing you feel for something unnamed is your soul's recognition of its own vastness. Seeking expression. Your previous identity doesn't require destruction. It simply requires discontinued observation. When you stop observing yourself as that entity, when you stop collapsing into that identity, it naturally dissolves back into the quantum field, becoming just one of many possibilities rather than your only reality. This is the transformation secret. You don't need to battle established patterns, overcome or defeat them. You simply need to stop selecting them, stop observing them, stop collapsing into them, and begin observing. Begin selecting. Begin collapsing into something else. But what is this something else? It's not a fantasy version requiring construction from nothing. It's a version of you already existing in the quantum field. Remember, in superposition, all possibilities exist simultaneously. The confident you, the abundant you, the peaceful you, the creative you, they all exist, accessible, awaiting your observation to materialize. The process is simpler than your mind suggests. Close your eyes and sense a different version of yourself. Not the one processing these words with current challenges, but the one already transformed. Feel their energy, peace, certainty. They don't exist in the future. They exist in a parallel now, a different collapse of identical quantum potential. When you open your eyes, choice awaits. Collapse back into your familiar identity, or maintain the frequency of this new version. Observe yourself as who you've been, or who you're becoming. The quantum field responds equally to either, manifesting with mathematical precision, whatever you select. This explains why pretending proves ineffective. You can't fabricate a frequency, can't deceive the quantum field. You must actually shift your observation, transform your consciousness, collapse into a different state. It's not about verbal declarations or visualizations. It's about which version of yourself you're observing into existence right now. Each version of you vibrates at a unique frequency. The worried you resonates at one frequency, the confident you at another. The scarcity-based you vibrates differently than the abundance-based you. These aren't metaphors. These represent measurable electromagnetic signatures your body broadcasts into the quantum field. If these insights awaken something deep within, I want to share a resource taking this understanding to new depths. My book, Beyond the Frequencies, A Quantum Guide to Consciousness Mastery. It explores the complete system of quantum consciousness creation, far beyond this video's scope, revealing 9 master frequencies that govern transformation with step-by-step practices. If you're ready to move from seeking to being, from manifestation to embodiment, this comprehensive guide, linked in the pinned comment below, shows you how to consciously broadcast the reality you wish to experience. Scientists have documented your heart generates an electromagnetic field, extending several feet beyond your physical body. This field carries information about your emotional state, identity, consciousness. When you collapse into fear, your field broadcasts fear. When you collapse into love, your field broadcasts love. The quantum field responds by organizing reality to match these broadcasts. This is why you sense someone's energy upon entering a room. Their electromagnetic field interacts with yours, exchanging information at a quantum level. You're not merely sensing their mood, you're experiencing their collapsed reality, the version they've selected to observe into existence. Your frequency serves as your calling card to the universe. It announces who you are before speaking, acting, or thinking. The universe, operating through resonance and attraction, responds by bringing experiences matching your frequency. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. More precisely, what you're observing yourself to be. Changing your frequency isn't about forcing positive emotions. It's about genuinely collapsing into a different version of yourself. When you truly observe yourself as abundant, your frequency shifts. When you genuinely collapse into confidence, your electromagnetic field broadcasts confidence. Vacuum fluctuation, a quantum field theory principle, states that even in seemingly empty space, particles constantly appear and disappear. Similarly, in your life, new possibilities constantly emerge from the quantum vacuum, even when opportunities seem absent. When you maintain a new frequency consistently, you capture these fluctuations, turning quantum possibilities into material realities in ways that previously seemed magical. The shift must be authentic, embodied, lived at a cellular level. This explains why affirmations often fail. You can repeat "I am abundant" thousands of times, but if you're observing yourself through scarcity, collapsing into lack, your frequency remains unchanged. The quantum field doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your state. It doesn't react to what you claim. It reacts to what you are. If you sense your frequency shifting, type "frequency shift" below. Let these words vibrate through the quantum field, announcing your new electromagnetic signature to the universe. Now, we explore how to consciously select which version of yourself to collapse into. This isn't a single event. It's a practice, a skill, an art form developed through consistent application. Every master of consciousness has understood. Reality manifests in the moment of collapse. and you can learn to direct that collapse. Begin with morning awakening, that precious moment when consciousness first returns. Before opening your eyes, before remembering your identity, pause. Feel yourself existing in superposition, in pure potential. You could be anyone. You could feel anything. All possibilities exist. Now, consciously select, not from intellect, but from your entire being. Which version of yourself will you collapse into today? Feel it in your body. The confident version maintains different posture, even while reclined. The peaceful version breathes differently. The abundant version contains different energy in their cells. Don't intellectualize it. Feel into it. Then, with intention and awareness, collapse into that version. Open your eyes as that person. Rise from bed as that identity. Begin your day from that frequency, actively shaping your reality. Throughout your day, countless opportunities for practice present themselves. Every interaction, every challenge, every moment of choice offers a chance to consciously collapse into your highest potential. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Which version of you responds? You receive unexpected information. Which identity do you collapse into? You face a familiar trigger. Who do you choose to become? The key lies in catching yourself in the moment before automatic collapse. That split second, where multiple paths await, that's your point of power. That's where you reclaim authority over your reality. It requires practice. Initially, you'll miss opportunities, collapsing into established patterns before recognizing choice existed. But with practice, you'll develop speed in catching yourself, skill in pausing, mastery in choosing. One technique, called pattern interruption, can accelerate this dramatically. By creating a simple physical gesture, such as touching your heart center or snapping your fingers,